Hello and howdy there, everybody. A couple days ago, I watched That's My Boy. I didn't like it so much. I haven't really cared for Adam Sandler's work for some time. I think I gave up on watching his films, I think after Chuck and Larry. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, which I not only found to be bad, I also kind of found to be irresponsible. But, Adam Sandler is a part of my youth. He came in like the second group after I started watching Saturday Night Live, from what I consider the golden era of Saturday Night Live. So I also had, his comedy album, They're All Gonna Laugh at You. I got that for a birthday present from one of my friends, and my parents would not let me listen to it because it had the parental advisory, sticker on it. So they would hide it, but luckily I knew where they hid it. So I would occasionally take it and listen to it, and it was just like this glorious secret for me. And it was hilarious, and again, Adam Sandler is a part of my youth. And I had no intention of watching this film, save for two reasons. And the first reason was a friend said to me that, if something is a part of your sense of humor, if something is a part of your upbringing, then you'll always, probably going to find something funny to laugh at, and that was the case. That made a good point. He said that it was a, funny movie. It didn't try and, do too much, but it was funny and vulgar. And so I was like, well, okay, this is like Adam Sandler's first hard R-rated comedy. I'm not sure he's ever had one that's a comedy. He's had R-rated films before, but I don't think any that he meant as a comedy. Adam Sandler, for me, he pretty much peaked with his first two films. He'll never do better than his very first film, Billy Madison. Every film that he's made since Billy Madison is kind of a copy of Billy Madison, follows the Billy Madison blueprint, and I don't think it's ever done it as successfully as Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore, if you're going to argue with me about Billy Madison being his best film, then you're probably going to say Happy Gilmore. And yeah, Happy Gilmore is hilarious, and perhaps more quotable than Billy Madison, but I still feel that Billy is the champ. And after Happy Gilmore, there's been diminishing returns ever since for me with Adam Sandler. I don't think, The Wedding Singer was good, Waterboy was good, and then just like after that, it starts to go downhill rather quickly, I thought. Another reason I rented this film is because a good friend and mentor of mine is in the film, Brad Grunberg. He plays the rather large gentleman that Adam Sandler's character bets on to win a marathon, and even though he's, gigantic, he somehow beats everyone else and wins this marathon, winning Adam Sandler like something ridiculous, like $160,000. I don't know. Anyway, I thought I would be able to get through like a conversation with him and, kind of bullshit him and say that I saw the movie, just tell him that he was fantastic. But I figured, what kind of friend would I be if I did that? So I knew I had to watch the film and, and then tell him that he did a fantastic job, which I have since told him that he did a fantastic job. As for the movie, it's about a young boy, 14, having a affair, as the film would say, the ultimate male fantasy. He sleeps with his teacher, who is incredibly hot, Susan Sarandon's daughter. She's just as hot as her mom. So they have a torrid love affair in the school, and they have a baby, from that torrid love affair. So he's like 14 years old, 15 years old, and he's having a baby. And, well, life goes on. Oh, okay, so the teacher gets arrested, put in prison. She has the baby, and it's, given custody to the young Adam Sandler. And, basically, we never really get to see what happens, but the young man is terrified of his life, hates his life, and, I guess runs away. I can't even remember how he got away from the family. That's never really discussed. It just has a flash forward, and everyone's an adult now. Andy Samberg character has, killed his family in an explosion. He's on the verge of getting married, and Sandler finds out about this and re-enters his life. In order to get $50,000, there's a lot of complicated nonsense going on in this film. The film seemed to drag on forever. And it was funny, and I laughed throughout, periodically, oftentimes, with gusto. That's the saving grace of the film. That's why I'll give it. I don't think I've said that. I think I'll give it a 5. I'll settle on a 5. It's just right in the middle. I'm not going to recommend it to anyone who doesn't just outright love Adam Sandler or is in my age bracket, to where, again, if Adam Sandler meant something to you as a kid, then, maybe you're going to have some, unexplained affinity for this film, for his works. So I'll give the film a 5. I think a 5 is fair. And it is funny. I'd say it was right about the half-hour mark, maybe 40-minute mark, when, I had, got a Blu-ray player, and the Blu-ray player, puts the running time of the film just right in front of your face. I try to avoid that. I don't want to know how much time has passed during a film until I want to know. And I was getting bored, and I was like, okay, how much time has passed in the movie? And I looked down, and something like 32 minutes to 38 minutes, and I was like, okay. So after that, we'll just call it 35-minute mark. After that 35-minute mark, it seemed that I looked at the time every 10 minutes. And every 10 minutes, I was like, God, how much longer is this movie? I couldn't believe it. It felt like in that 10 minutes that I would go without checking the time, it felt like a half hour would pass. I thought that it would easily be 20 minutes, and it was just 10 minutes. So the movie is like twice as long as it should be. And the movie is, I think, almost an hour and 50 minutes. I mean, it is long. I can't find the running time right off the top of my head. They always hide the running time. I don't get that. Like, they don't want people to know how long the movie is. I never get that, why they hide the running time. Seems like what you would actually check the back of a box for. It's like, oh, how long is this movie? And I just don't see it anywhere. But it was just dragging on and on. So it just went on forever. And at the end, I just don't understand the end. They do a great job of just doing this ridiculous, outlandish comedy. Raunchy, hangover-style, debauchery. And at the very end, like the last 20 minutes, they try and make it all mean something, and it just doesn't feel real at all. Like the Samberg character gets upset and doesn't want to have anything to do with his father anymore. And it was just like, why are you upset? This doesn't seem at all, inconvenient. Again, it's just like they tried to... Well, what they did was they had a plot device for the first, like, 20 minutes of the film. And then the film gets going, and we forget about the first 20 minutes of the film. And then it's like, the last 20 minutes of the film, they're like, oh, well, we need to, you know, actually finish that story we started, you know, an hour ago. So here it is again. And even though, you know, we haven't been, like, following that or thinking about that, the characters don't really, you know about it. Apparently it's just this big, huge deal that ruins everything, and just for some type of dramatic tension, and it just was forced and fake, and whatever. I didn't see any point in doing it. You know, I didn't see any point in doing it. I thought if they just would have forgotten about it and had a nice little ending, then it probably would have been a much better film. But just the ending, it just... I don't know, it's bizarre almost, you know, it's bizarre. So it just definitely turned me off. It is very funny, all the performances are fine. Let's see, we've got Adam Sandler, of course. I didn't, you know, there are, yeah, I guess a handful of Sandler recurring characters in this film. Not a huge amount, but there were some, you know, familiar faces, as well as his use of using, you know, famous sports figures and music figures, you know, rock and roll figures. We've got, oh, that's my boy, Leighton Mister and James Caan. They don't even have the cast on here. They don't list the cast of this film. That's weird. Seriously, they don't list any of the actors on this. That's an oversight. It's gotta be. Anyway, it's written by David Cast. I'm not familiar with that name. Produced by Adam Sandler, of course. Directed by Sean Anders, a name I'm also not familiar with. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I enjoyed watching my friend in the film, and I'm happy for him that he got, you know, maybe this will be somewhat of a break for him. I don't know what else to say about the film. Again, if you have some affinity for Adam Sandler, maybe you will watch this film, but I don't. There's no real reason to watch it. I mean, unless you're a student of comedy and see all kinds of comedies, you know, depending... no matter, you know, the quality level. So, there you go. I don't know what else to say about it. But, it's funny. You know, it's raucous. It's raucous here and there, and occasionally, you know, you get a good belly laugh. You know, the belly laughs do come with some frequency, so that's, you know, the saving grace of the film. You know, if you enjoy that Adam Sandler sense of humor, then that's definitely on display here. And in a way that it's kind of never been before, because there's, you know, extreme amounts of blue language, nudity, drug and alcohol consumption. You know, it earns its R rating, definitely. So, there you go. That's My Boy. Starring the great Brad Grunberg, and I'll give it a solid 5. Thank you much.